Okay, it's recording. All right, we're good.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for coming here on a beautiful spring evening. I am Meeting-STHS, and we're going to open tonight with the town hall. We'll go through first a welcome. I'll have everyone introduce themselves. I will ask our police department to make a briefing on some of the recent events in town. I have some frequently asked questions from social media that we'll review, some solutions and collaborations that are going on, some calls to action, and we will go from there. There's possibly a special guest on his way as well. So with that, just say we've gathered tonight as neighbors, parents, youth, educators, faith leaders, public servants, as a community, because you're deeply concerned about the violence that's affected our streets, schools, and families. Violence in any form leaves a scar on those directly impacted and on all of us. Whether it's gun violence, domestic violence, youth fights, the ripple effects reach far beyond a single moment or incident. And the truth is, no person or institution can solve this alone. So it's encouraging to see so many people here tonight. So tonight we don't want to point fingers, we want to listen, learn, work together, try to understand some of the root cause of what's happening in our community, and focus on real steps forward. This is part of a larger conversation. This is a point in time, not a one and done type of discussion. And so I'm going to invite all speakers here to talk, listen with compassion, and work together to help us build a safer, stronger, and more united community. So I'll begin. We'll go through introductions. Again, I'm Meeting-STHS. So you're welcome.
I'm Dave Klein. I'm the city manager here in Streator. I'd like to welcome everyone coming here. I think we should thank the high school for providing us the opportunity to meet in this space. Our last meeting was held at City Hall, and it was standing room only, and couldn't accommodate everybody. Those of you who do not have students and haven't been in this auditorium in recent years, this is really an amazing facility. So I deeply appreciate the high school and the staff here for making it available to us. And I think let's just turn it over to our chief and just
Good evening, and I want to thank you all for coming out. My name is John Franklin. I've been the chief of police for close to 3 years now. It's an honor to be here in Streator. I enjoy working with everyone here, the mayor, city manager, deputy chief Robert Wood, and the great officers that make up this police department who work very hard to make sure this city is safe on a daily basis. I appreciate you all coming out, because I'm sure like myself and everybody else, I'm sure you all have worked all day, and you took the time out to come out here because you're concerned about the city, and I do appreciate you coming out. Thank you.
I'm Deputy Chief Robert. I've been here on Streator for 21 years now. Born and raised here in Streator. I've gone over this last time. I don't like the fact that we're here again this soon. It's ridiculous. We've got this violence going on in town. I care about this community, and I want everybody just to take a second, look at the people left and the right of you, look at the people behind it. This is the community. This is why we're here. We all need to work together to solve these problems.
Hi, my name is Allison Carestas. I graduated from Streator High School, class of 2014. Went and got my law degree, came back and started working at the LaSalle County State's Attorney's Office. I'm a Streator resident. I'm also concerned and wanting to make a difference with what's going on as far as the violence in this town. And I hope that everyone can kind of work together and we can come to a solution because I love my town. I came back to my town. So I hope we can figure something out.
My name is Matt Tedder. I've been with the LaSalle County State's Attorney's Office for just over 26 years. I've seen the change in your town during my career. I know why you're frustrated. You're right to be frustrated. And I hope that we can have some real honest talks about some ideas going forward tonight that will leave you feeling a little bit more hopeful than you are right now. Thank you.
Hi everyone, my name is Laura Hall. I'm an Assistant State's Attorney with the LaSalle County State's Attorney's Office. I have been an attorney for about 18 years. I've been with the LaSalle County State's Attorney's Office for the majority of my career. I echo Matt's sentiments in that I have seen the changes that have happened in this community. I am a lifelong LaSalle County resident, and it saddens me to see the state of things in Streator. I have friends who grew up here, I have friends who live here, and I hope that we can all work together to move forward and make positive change and find a way to stop this incredible and senseless violence that has taken over your community and our community.
So our next section will just be a briefing on some of our recent incidents, arrest information. I will ask you to keep in mind sometimes we can't release everything. Especially in today's world, we have social media and we find out things faster, I think sometimes than even our police department gets called. To be honest with you. So there are times where we have to hold some information back because we don't want to hurt the investigation or hurt a possible conviction. So I do want to be clear with that. It's not because we don't want to be transparent, but I try to respect and let any releases or anything come from the gentleman at our police department for that reason.
Good evening. As you all are much aware of, we've had a spat of violence this year that has concerned all of us. And we're working very hard to put a lid on it. I'll go through a few incidents. January 27th, 1100 block of Allen Road, we had a 31-year-old male arrested and charged with UUW along possession of a weapon, awaiting trial. February 14th, 2400 block of Bloomington, we had a 23-year-old male arrested and charged with UUW, aggravated UUW, excuse me. In March, 100 block of East Summer Street, we had a 62-year-old female arrested and charged with unlawful discharge of a firearm. April 9th, 600 block of Wisconsin Avenue, we had a juvenile man arrested and charged with UUW. April 18th, We had an incident occurring at 402 North Bloomington, a 32-year-old male arrested, charged with UUW. April 20th, we had an incident occurring at East Main in Sterling that was a drive-by shooting on Easter Sunday. 17-year-old male was killed, 2 persons wounded. We now have a murder warrant out on a 31-year-old male who's been identified as the shooter. Murder warrant is for first-degree homicide. As of right now, he's not in custody, but we hope to have him in custody soon. April 30th, 1100 block of South Arthur Avenue. Juvenile male has been arrested and charged with aggravated battery with a firearm. May 6th, City Park, 28-year-old male was arrested and charged with violation of bail bond, resisting obstructing a peace officer, armed violence, disorderly conduct, possession of controlled substance. This last incident, myself and Deputy Chief Wood, we actually arrested and caught the subject ourselves. We were out there, we left the station, we heard the call, pursued the subject, apprehended him, and with the assistance of LaSalle County deputies, we were able to locate the weapon and charge him accordingly with those incidents. I would also like to point out that our law enforcement partners, as you see on LaSalle County State's Attorney's Office, LaSalle County Sheriff's Department, the Livingston County Livingston County Sheriff's Department, and also the Trident Investigative Group. They've all done a very good job of assisting us whenever and wherever we needed them. And we called upon them on some very ungodly hours, as they can tell you themselves. And I really take my hat off to all of them to rising up to the occasion where we needed them. I thank them very much. And it just shows you, it should show all of you residents here the level of commitment that not just us, but our law enforcement partners have to making sure the city is safe, that we have adequate resources available to not only apprehend offenders, but to get charges approved and even get them held in custody off of our streets, which is a big problem we've had for a while on Streator, not just apprehending offenders, but getting them held and not coming back out on our streets and repeat offending on a continuous basis. I'll turn it now over to Deputy Chief Wood.
From January 1st to the end of April, we've had 29 reported gunshot incidents in this town. The numbers have been pretty consistent even since our last town hall meeting. Out of those, not all of them are legitimate gunshot incidents. Some turn out to be fireworks, but we have at least 10 just in the course of this year that are confirmed shootings. Some have been resolved, others are still under investigation. We always ask the public for help, for leads or anything else. A problem we've run into and something that we're still trying to fix is issues from the past. There's been some mistrust of police. I've talked to people about incidents that have happened in the past that they don't feel that the police are out to protect them. They feel that they're different, treated differently. I can assure you that's not this department. This isn't the department from the 90s. This is a young department that would want to help the community. So I said this 6 months ago, I urge people to cooperate with us, to give us information, to talk to us. The only way we can solve some of these incidents is through that cooperation, because if we don't have victims that are willing to cooperate or witnesses that are willing to tell us who's doing what, it makes this much harder for these guys to prosecute cases and for us to prove who's done what.
Everything that Bob said is true. We've seen, certainly in the last 3-4 years, a real lack of, and not just here, across the board, a lack of cooperation by victims of violent crime, and cooperating with law enforcement, cooperating with our office, wanting to give statements. I don't understand when someone gets shot, why they don't want to cooperate with the prosecution of the person that shot them. We can't do our jobs unless they want to participate in that process. and get their justice. I think that there's some street code that's overriding their willingness to cooperate with us, and we're trying to work against that. You're right to be frustrated, like I said. We were here 6 months ago, and it hasn't gotten better. And summer's coming, and it's going to get worse. We had met, not myself personally, but our administration had met with the administration of the city a year ago to talk about the cameras that aren't working. And that problem still hasn't been fixed. I don't want to make this adversarial. I don't want to make this accusatory. These are just truths that I think bear noting. You look at the city of Streator, population 12,000 and change, right? You look at the city of Ottawa, population 18,000 and change. So Streator is about 2/3 the size of Ottawa. The Ottawa Police Department has 41 total officers. That's not 2/3, that's double. They have 6 full-time investigators. Streator has 2. The guys that are working in the city department are doing great work. There's not enough of them. We said 6 months ago, there's not enough of them. They gotta find the money, they gotta hire bodies, they gotta train them up. You know, the first 48 was a TV show for a reason. When these violent crimes happen, they gotta flood the streets with people and get as much information as they can, as quickly as they can. And if they don't have the bodies, it just doesn't work. It's a money issue. They gotta buy cameras that work to focus on the problem places that we all know exist. And it's a money issue. Again, I don't have an answer. I know that Ottawa has 28 total flock cameras. They don't pay a dime for them. They got to do a grant. So that exists. $79,000 worth of cameras doesn't cost Ottawa a thing. We should be looking into that. The city government here should be looking into that. Our office in 2024 received 1,375 reports submitted by the Ottawa Police Department. We received 479 reports submitted by Streator. That's not because Ottawa's more dangerous. It's because they have the bodies to go out and do the work. They have the people to go out and do the work. These guys want to do the work, but when you're working doubles and when you're shortchanged, and they're entitled to vacation, they're entitled to time off, you got to have people there. It might be that the public has to weather a little bit higher property taxes. You know, I mean, it's you got to fund it somehow. The money doesn't just fall out of the sky. So again, this is a truth-telling session here. The solution to me is clear. Without the police, and other agencies have been great. Triton's been great. The county's been great. They come in, they help, but they don't know this could be like these guys do. They don't know the players like these guys do, and that matters when you have police officers that interact with the community and patrol the streets and meet with people and develop those relationships. Then when the proverbial, you know what, it's the fan, they know who to talk to. And they develop those trust relationships. That's how this all works. But again, if you don't have the bodies, you can't get it done. I mean, right now, they're a Band-Aid on a gunshot. It's triage. They're doing the very best they can with their limited resources, but they need more. And that's the truth. And we can talk about cooperation from the bad actors, from the victims, all that stuff. That's also not wrong, but that's not the whole solution. We need to put more resources to work. We need to find it and put it to work. So, any questions? Sure.
I have a couple questions. Okay. We speaking upon, since you brought up the 90s, I've been here 35 years. I haven't heard nobody on this stage say they've been here more than 35 years. I have 8 foster kids in my home. I get pulled over by the police, get my car searched for no reason, all because of the color of my skin. So before we can speak upon us helping our towns and our communities, we gotta go against the racism that's in this town, in this community. I have called my mayor. I have asked questions about this. Why am I getting pulled over with 8 kids in my car and dogs coming in my car when I have no criminal history? They can't give me a justified answer to that. So for us to get help in this town first, we need to see through the colors. When you're pulling people over, it's not just black criminals here. We also have other criminals here. So yeah, you ain't getting criminals. You ain't getting criminals because you're not looking for criminals. You're looking for the people that's been in this town so many years, ain't did nothing in this town. And y'all looking for us to give y'all our cameras. Y'all wondering why we won't give y'all our cameras. Chief, you ride past my house every day. You see these kids out in my yard. I tell y'all all the time, I'm not a criminal. Just because I got the color of a criminal, or just because I got the last name of a criminal, don't make me a criminal. So yes, before we can start this, you say the 90s police. I think the 90s police was better than y'all, okay? If you want to ask me. Because they ain't gonna just pull us over for the color of our skin. They're gonna pull us over for the right reason. We did something wrong. We moved the wrong way. That's what we get pulled over for. So until this town can stop seeing the color of everybody's skin and start loving each other for who we are.
Anybody else?
I have a question.
You got it.
So, we talk about, if you look around this room, you got a vast majority of people in this room, and it's not the people that should be sitting in this room, okay? So, when we talk about, what you say, street code, we're not about the street code. You see what I'm saying? Because we gotta know that we can trust you, okay? We gotta first get past being able to trust the police. You know what I'm saying? 'Cause it's not moving like it's supposed to. We can't trust the state's attorneys, we can't trust the police, and we can't trust half of the people that's off up in this town or what you would call our community. So how we gonna get past that? How we gonna do better on that part? For you to say, oh, it's a street code, the victims don't want to say what happened to them, or the shooters don't want to talk. Why would they talk to some people they know they can't trust? Why would the victims want to put themselves out there when they know you're not going to do 100% of your job that you're supposed to do? You're going to minimize it. You're gonna break it down in such a way to where it look like something big when it's really not. See, the gun violence in this town don't just lead with the people that's doing the shooting or the victims. Okay, it's bigger than that. All right, and these people that's coming to this town, that's doing these things, a lot of them being brought here by the very individual kids that's sitting in this room. Their daughters, their sons. So it's a lot of things that need to be looked at outside of when you say community. Let's be a community. Let's make sure we can do that. Let me know I can trust my neighbor, and not my neighbor looking at me as if somebody they can't trust. Okay? Let me know I can talk to the police, and I can trust the police without the police trying to minimize the situation to their life. Let me know I can come to the state's attorney and say whatever I need to say to you. And I ain't got to worry about how you gonna put it in your books, on your word, on that stand, or in front of that judge, outside of being what it's supposed to be, the truth. If we ain't got that, we ain't gonna get further nowhere.
I'm going to respond to that. The trust we're talking about is a choice. You have a choice to trust, you have a choice to not trust. Every encounter you have with the police officers on body cam,
No,
there's no,
no, it's not. No, it's not.
then insist that it be on body cam. That way, your words can't be changed, their words can't be
Okay,
changed.
so you should be telling your chief and your
Which one?
He's not like you. He's gonna work for me.
Which one we gonna look at to know that which one is the truth? They words or mine?
Well, it's a recording, it's so, the recording.
It's not recorded,
speaks
it's
for itself.
not recorded, it's not
Okay,
recorded.
okay.
It's already stated, it happened with the police, that's not
So, I'm not gonna argue, I mean, but the trust is gonna be a choice. You gotta choose to engage in the process, or choose not to. I've been doing this for 26 years. I don't do it, because it's gonna get me rich, because it's not. I do it because I like it. I have had white victims, black victims, Hispanic victims. I don't care. I don't want anyone to get shot or hurt. It doesn't matter to me. I want to put people that hurt other people in prison.
well, that's the point of this.
I had a case, you ain't put them in there. You ain't put them in there, you call me the thing, your chief got the record, everybody got the record. The recording went to the state's attorney. The chief promised me that it wasn't a hate crime, it was a hate speech. Now this man is sitting right here with his daughter, and nothing happened to him. So please don't tell me it's a choice, because it was a choice for y'all to prosecute him for calling me the N-word also.
We're pedophiles.
Y'all newspaper, y'all don't put that out there like that. I see black people in these newspapers 1,000,001 times that somebody white go in the newspaper, it might be once, twice. The murderer, the one who choked this lady out here. He's been in the newspaper once or twice. But y'all put these young black boys out here like they've been criminals all their life. Please, y'all gotta explain to me, because what y'all explaining right now is y'all still bringing it back to the Chicago people. Everybody here that's colored is not just Chicago people.
Send them photos back to Chicago.
It's all of y'all things. Y'all seeing all this. The mayor just said she has so many questions about the time and all this, everything that's been said on social media. Everything you hear is send them thugs back to Chicago. Stop the black people. Make sure you search their cars. That's wrong. That's wrong. Because there's white people out here doing the same thing as these black people. So it's wrong in all ways.
I agree with you. That's true. Go ahead.
I guess my question is, so you had talked about the cameras and having more officers. I did not realize until tonight, Mayor Vida takes a lot of heat, but as I understand it, a city manager's job is to help with that as well. So I think a lot of this trickles. I mean, I want to know, I guess, who is responsible for that and what can be done and what hasn't been done. I mean, another thing that I think may help, my case may be different, but I just had the police next door again last night because somebody was pounding on the door next door for drugs, or somebody who has a warrant who has not been picked up yet. This is nonstop. I did call because of all the recent violence, and for the record, he's white, so is the slum landlord. The inspections need to be done on these rental houses. The inspections actually overdue. Ottawa Police Department did a raid last year. They were very awesome. They went, took the stolen appliances out, did everything they needed to do, and they said this house is unsafe. The house was deemed unsafe. The inspections haven't been done on time. I messaged the landlord again last night. These people don't even pay rent because they're in on this whole drug thing together. I have lived there for 18 years, and now I have pure squalor living next door to me. It is absolutely disgusting. And if that all trickles down, I mean, I feel like maybe that falls under the city manager as well. Joe Scarberry, he has been here my last 2 weeks. I want to out of our neighborhood, and when a slum landlord fined every single time he's supposed to be fined because I am sick of it.
Actually, I got prepared on rental inspections because I hear a lot on that. First, I don't care about color, race, sexual orientation. I care if you're a good law-abiding citizen and productive in our community. So I mean, you know, I'm sorry if you're facing or feel like you're facing racism. I don't care who you are, where you came from, what your education is. I care if you are right or wrong and doing good things for your community. So just one second. Let me talk about rentals, because this came up, this is one of the frequently asked questions I see a lot of. In February 2019, the city started a rental inspection program. From February 2019 to December 2024, we've completed 6 rounds. That's 608 rental unit permits. We're on round 7. Round 7 is all the people that will not comply with us. Round 7 mailings were completed, so those properties believed to be rentals. With that, we've reviewed and categorized in that 5-year time period 2,554 homes. So 608 rental units were filed. Some were vacant and have been registered as such. Some were owner-occupied or have changed hands since the original list came out. Some are occupied by a relative or are on a contract for deed. We are currently, since that time, working on the round 7 mailings. Since September of 2023, we have demolished 101 South 2nd Avenue, 812 Moyne, 1513 North Bloomington. We concluded legal action in one after 121 West Hickory, which was the house where we had a homicide in 2023 in May. That house alone had 159 calls to it in 8 years and was taken down last summer. Now, not all of those are bad. I say 159, some of them are, but they're not all bad calls. But I think anyone in the room probably hasn't called on average 20 times a year on their home or their own property. Concluded legal action and demolition of 210 South Bloomington Street. We are currently pursuing legal action against 206 Streator and are continuing inspection of the submitted rental property applications. We review this in council every January. We did it last year, we did this again this year. Typical council meeting, the one we had second meeting in April, if I looked at the audience, we had 2 people that were not employed by the city or the newspaper. So this is, one thing we see is, I like to see at the council meetings. We don't see a lot. So, this isn't a one-time thing. This conversation and improving is many steps over a long period of time. So let me go over just current stuff with the rentals. So we've continued ongoing legal action for the properties to be out of compliance. Ongoing legal action is not cheap. When we have to start pursuing legal action and it may lead to a demolition, it may end up costing the city $60,000. I could probably cover salary of one officer right out of academy with that. So that's just one kind of example for cost. We have a new software system at City Hall where we've integrated, and now there's a checkbox to help us better track some of the rentals. We started this program again in 2019. Anyone that was registered, it was supposed to be a 3-year registration. We have let that go because we thought it's not fair when we have this group of people sitting together that haven't been registered. Because honestly, the good landlords, they were right there at City Hall helping us create the program because we didn't want to go after the good ones, but we had to register everybody to go forward. So we have started re-registering some of these 2019 or some of the people whose had expired now, and we'll continue inspecting those as they come up. Another item that I'll discuss, last October I mentioned the bill that was in the House. It was House Bill 5432. That was trying to limit the ability of a community to have nuisance abatement laws as far as rental properties are concerned. That would take, and we talked in October about who will not, who will, what we're limited, what we can do. So that bill did fizzle out in the House. Currently, there's a new bill in the Senate looking to do the same thing. What it's saying is that it's Senate Bill 2264, and they're looking at making this a county problem, saying counties cannot have this crime-free nuisance abatement housing as far as rentals, limiting our local authority on what we can do on these As well as saying if you do decide to pursue this, you have to create an office of housing discrimination and fund a position. There has to be 3 years of certain training, and there's a lot going into that. I'm against anything that's going to directly limit the city's authority to go after the problem landlords. We all know I could probably say, here's a list, give me 10 addresses, and I can get them right in here tonight. But this is for the tire needs. I've sent letters to Senator Chris Palma, as well as Sue Resin. She's no longer our state senator, but since she has represented Streator in the past, I've also sent them to her. So, again, that's one action you can take to say, I'm against this bill because it's going to limit the local authority to go after and pursue some of these issues. And I can read it. In here, in Streator, we have many rentals, many owned by out-of-town landlords who have little regard for what happens on their properties as long as their rent checks arrive. I mean, that's straight from my letter. So, that's where we are with the rentals, because that comes up a lot. Another item I want to mention, as far as we talk about auto, we talk about Streator and costs. I looked this up for another reason, but for this year, Iowa's tax levy, what they get from property taxes, $9,565,965 for 18,856 people. Streator's $4,673,260 for 12,269. Now, I know that property taxes aren't on a per person or a per capita basis. So right now, I get a lot of flack that we have the highest property tax rate in the county. If you look at it on a per capita, Iowa's at $507 per person, and Streator's at $381. So when we're like, we don't want to keep raising costs because we know it's hard, we want it to be keep Streator affordable. That's just a really quick math and difference on those. Let me just go through.
Is that because they have a bigger business base and tourism, do you think? Or is it because their housing is more expensive?
I would say all of them. Yes, all of those. So the question was, is it because the housing is worth more businesses, more tourism? I would say yes to all of those. I mean, there's more population. But just if I'm looking at just dividing that out to try to get an idea per person what that costs are. And if you look at tax rate, if you look at a tax levy, and you see a rate. If I have 10% tax levy, and then just high. So say I have a 10% tax levy on $1 million assessed value. That's what all the property in town's worth. That 10% means $100,000. If my town had $2 million and I still had 10%, that's $200,000. So, kind of backing up the math, if I wanted that same $100,000, but the assessed value was $2 million, I would have a 5% tax rate. So that tax rate that I get a lot of complaints about, not always a true picture, because it's a math, it's a percentage times a levy, which gives you the amount that the city gets. I don't know if I want to jump into any of my other frequently asked questions, or go from there, but
more jobs back and more things for these kids to go out there studying these banks and these bars. Don't y'all think y'all town would be a little better like Iowa too?
I agree. I'm just hired an economic development director, hoping to encourage businesses to open in town.
I mean, if there's an increase in property taxes every single year, which there have been, then how is it that the quality of life in this town is not gone up? I'm sorry, I'm going to talk over you. I know you've been standing there with your microphone the entire time.
Yeah, I'm also a little pregnant, so can I jump in?
Yeah, go ahead.
Thank you. I have a few questions. First, I actually want to say thank you to Tara for being up here. I know that there's been a lot going on, and I especially want to thank you for the last 2 police incidences up at the Streator Park. That is where a lot of my focus is right now. I'm among the 7 children, 8 on the way. Clearly, I don't know about birth control. But here it is.
did have a meeting. And there was another one. Let me go, that's on page, it's on page 6. Let me get it.
That information needs to be a little bit more available to everybody because community involvement with this is going to be very important. It's very easy for us to come up here and just blame everything, but it's going to be the department, it's going to be the city officials, it's going to be the townspeople, it's going to be the state's attorney's office. We all need to come together. We're hearing about budget cuts. Okay, so how many cameras in our city park are actually operational right now? And on that note, where are we at on finding grants for that?
Those are operational. So let me talk about the cameras a little bit, because I think saying they don't work is not a true story.
Well, real quick, my other question is the community actually allowed to fundraise to try to get cameras in there? It shouldn't just be your guys' only responsibility.
Yeah, we do accept donations and actually donations to the city are taxes are local. So it's like a 501c3. With the cameras, trying to describe them. So there were some issues. There's a repeater that didn't work because the building no longer had power. We fixed that. We fixed some parts there. What we see is there's a power surge somewhere downtown. It can kick a camera off. We fix it, it may be good for a day, it may be good for a month. Then we gotta go fix it again. We have a quote to rewire new electricity through that whole area. And this is kind of newer off the press, but it's gonna be a $200,000 fix. It's needed, but when people hear big numbers like $200,000, we get a lot of, what are you doing? So we will, and the council is planning on bringing that in and spending that.
With everything going on down at City Park, how often are you guys actually able to control it right now being so short-staffed? And with being short-staffed, what do you personally feel we can do as a community to make our park safe again? Because a lot of these incidences are happening at the park. And as a result, a lot of people are trying to go away because we want to actually stay safe. But the more we abandon them, the more they're moving in. So we need to figure out, for example, this is just some areas for us to work on. It doesn't fix the whole thing. It's going to, like I said, everybody involved to get this to work. Another idea I had too was, for example, college campuses, they have where you can pull an alarm if there's an emergency at the park. Do we have anything like that in ours? And if so, has it ever been looked into?
We do not have that. Like, I know what you're talking about, things like the blue light.
That there's some emergency going on, it automatically goes out. Because some of these kids may not even have a phone when they're down there, something's going on. We're hearing a lot of public trust. Are you guys willing to do public outreach with the community for like the kids and everything on gun violence and drugs and just, hey, we're here and this is what we do? Is that something you guys would be willing to put some of the time into? I know you guys show up to some of the events and stuff. I know you guys offer, for example, like baseball. I have 2 in there right now, so I really appreciate that you guys are willing to drive around there more right now. Are these kind of events something you'd be willing to put in?
I know Chief goes to these books as head start.
Well, that's awesome.
As Terry said, Chief does a lot of community outreach himself. Our guys do a lot of director control of what we consider hot areas of town. City Park's always been one. We expect our guys driving through there. As time and duty permit, we want them out on foot. Walk through the park, just stop and talk to people. That's the biggest thing that we try to get as community police. We now have officers back in high school. That is huge for us. That builds some relationships between younger kids and our law enforcement. So they're not always seeing us on a negative connotation. We're seeing more calls to North Lawn now that they no longer have their school resource officer. So we're up there, we're up in the schools a lot more. we do what we can to get out and spend time in public. We do our Cops for Kids every year. It's a great program. We get huge community outreach for that. And in that, the biggest thing we try to do is we're trying not to put a negative light on our job and what we do, because that's too much. Everybody sees us on the worst day. Right? We don't want that negativity to come around with us. We want the kids to be able to run up to us and tell us that, hey, you know, just give us a high five. It's like you'll see us at the carnivals and stuff like that, and we're out there, most of us are having fun, because we're out there to be able to just have a good time, talk to everybody. We're there for protection, but we're also there to be approached. So, as far as community outreach, that's kind of what we're doing right now. It's, we'd love to have 10, 15 more guys in where I could say, you know, let's get out there and, you know, walk the streets, do what we can. Unfortunately, we don't have that. But with 3 or 4 guys, as guys have downtime, yeah, I want them out there talking to people.
With how short-staffed you guys are, what personal effects do you see it affecting? And is there a way for us to fix you guys being so short-staffed? I know we've heard about property taxes, but is there any other options, any kind of grants?
A few years ago, there was a COPS grant. The way that works is they'll check out different departments. They'll usually offer up to 3 hires, depending on the department size. With those grants, they pay for the first 3 years of an officer's career. After that, it's on the city, and the city can't get rid of the position after the grant's up. It's been several years since the COPS grant's been out. I want to say probably 2 or 3. We weren't picked last time. We've been fortunate, as short-staffed as we say we are, our numbers are much higher than were back 5, 6 years ago. They're still not, I'll be honest with every one of you guys here, I will never tell you I've got enough guys. If I have 30, I'll go for it. I'm greedy like that, because I think the more people we get out there, the more good we can do.
And then I will let the community members take over. This is a slight little twist, but with everything being raised with the violence in our town, what kind of training do you guys have when it comes to children and adults on the spectrum or with special needs? Have you guys ever gone any kind of training?
Yes. As through state mandates, we're required to do CIT training, crisis intervention training, and a lot of focus of that is on people on the spectrum. We have, let's see, I'm sending 2 more officers next week to a 40-hour class on it. I would say about half of the department's been to the 40-hour class, others have been to 8-hour classes or online training. But it's a mandate, and it's honestly one of the best trainings I've ever been to.
And do you guys have any kind of program there for us to be able to say that we have an autistic child that's in a lower?
That is something that I've been looking at recently. I don't see a crew just went into one. I don't know the name of it off the top of my head. It's a great program, and it allows us to know when we're responding to a residence that, you know, there is someone on the spectrum, or if they, as you said, if they elope, that we know, you know, they're on the spectrum, so where we might know where to go look for them, eyes and water, things like that.
Awesome. Thank you so much for your time.
No problem.
But she did not that, that's why I like to ask questions.
We have special needs kids that come out from Streator High, come out to help clean our lobby every Wednesday. So we're glad to see them. We go out and get them a box of donuts, just to show them we appreciate what they do. And they're glad to see us, and we're really glad to see them. Streator Unlimited, I've had them come out to our station twice and bring in 40, 50 people. Doesn't matter. Head Start program, I rated them every month. They've come out recently and toured our station. We have a lot of outreach in the community. Flag Day, I'll be out there speaking with Streator Recovery. We have a lot of community outreach, and we'll go to any meeting anyone asks us to come to. If anybody wants to come in and tour the station, we're glad to accommodate. Because we serve, you know, we work for you. We are the guardians of the community. We can't do it alone, and we know that, and we appreciate all the help we get. I want to address your issue with racism. There's a difference between hate speech and hate crime. And I'm going to tell you, as a man who's been in law enforcement for 44 years, I myself have heard some pretty ugly things. When I was in the police uniform. And her husband came up behind her and told her, don't let that thieving Puerto Rican in our house, and they shut the door in my face. I have had people tell me on traffic stops, not here, but in other places, oh, you speak English. May I see your license? Can I see your papers, sir? Where are you from? Why don't you swim back to your island? So I'm not immune to that. I've had a couple of incidents here in Streator too that I haven't discussed with anybody, where after the re-election of Governor Pritzker, I happened to be in a diner where some people, I was in uniform, sitting there having lunch, and some people made some very distressing comments about Jewish people. Some people made some very distressing comments about our people from Chicago, saying they should just separate them from the rest of Illinois. So I went and took my lunch and brought it back to the station to eat. Because I was in uniform and on duty, I wasn't going to get involved in that conversation. I'm not immune to that, but there is a difference between hateful speech and hate crime. When someone's trying to hurt you, destroy your property, set your property on fire, inhibit your freedom of movement, that's hate crime.
Yeah.
We're not, like I said, I've been black for over 60 years. So it's you go ahead, man.
Can I ask you something?
Mm-hmm.
The one I wanted to speak to anyway. When we first got here in this community, and the carnival was here, I was the lady out there.
I remember.
I was the lady barbecuing for the kids to make sure they could get carnival tickets to go somewhere. You know what you told me, sir? You said I don't deal with people like you.
No, I did not.
Yeah, I got it on
Well, whatever. But anyway, the sensitive was man. I'm gonna say something here. You did not have a permit to fix food in the park, which was required, and I explained that to you.
Sir, you asked me to speak, I want to.
Okay, you go ahead.
Say, I dealt with people like you. I said to you, sir, you never dealt with a person like me.
Mm-hmm.
You might have dealt with people in Chicago,
Mhm.
you might have dealt with anything, but you never dealt with nobody like me. You sat there at that table after you seen me stop serving the food and everything. You said I could sit here as long as I want.
Which is true.
Which is true. But you sat at that table when it was crying all over that park that you could have been dealing with. But you made sure you said
There was no crime in the park.
sir. Yeah. It's crime everywhere in your city, sir. So I'm just saying, if we were doing something, which is for the community, because I was giving all kids that didn't have no money some money to go to that conference. I had to go. I had my.
The city sold permits, everyone wanted to sell food, was required to purchase a permit. You failed to do that.
But thank you.
Okay, you're welcome.
You warned me with that, and I let that go. I said, no, okay, you won't sell no more food. Kids won't have no.
So I got a couple of questions here. Sorry, I don't mean to cut you off.
Yes, sir.
My name is Dave Moss. Chief John Franklin, while you were standing up there, you listed off 8 different incidents that have happened since January 27th alone, just in regards to gun violence, right? I mean, we're hearing people sit here talking about the general mistrust of the police. We're hearing complaints of discrimination. Regardless if it's actually founded, if you can prove it or not, it's the fact that people feel that way, okay? Of those people that you listed off, 2 of them were juvenile, 1 of them was 62, and everybody else was younger than me. I'm going to be 37 in August this year. So I really honestly think that we're seeing what happens when a generation feels ignored, unheard, and invisible. I'm not here to blame anybody. I'm not here to blame you. I'm not here to blame them. But I am here to propose something. So let's create a space where we can at least start with the youth, right? I propose that we create a Streator Youth Council. We don't need to solve anything, but what we can do is at least pilot a 1-month program where we begin to take feedback from the community. Something where there's surveys that are out there, either paper ballots, digital, whatever. However you can do it where instead of people coming in here once every 6 months when everything has gotten so bad, where you require a town hall meeting to actually give feedback, that's a regular thing. Not only is that going to allow voices to be heard and a communication streak to happen, but it's not going to be under the worst possible circumstances. You know, I mean, a grant was brought up that the city of Iowa received that they didn't have to pay a dime for their surveillance systems, but it's brought up that the solution is to increase property taxes. What would make a member of this community feel more comfortable, or any pride whatsoever, in living in a place that's blatantly going downhill, but they're gonna pay more money to live here. You see what I'm saying? Like, we need to have some solutions brought to the table before people are willing to continually pay more in property taxes. That's not an answer. You want a community to come together, let's have the community keep that urgent.
First of all, sir, I was not the one that proposed higher property taxes. Secondly, because that's not my purview. Secondly, I think a youth council is an excellent idea, and I'd be willing to sit down and talk to you about organizing one and putting it together, getting it structured to make it happen.
Fantastic. Fantastic.
I can tell you, I spend a lot of time with kids out here in the street. I talk to kids all the time. And I'm all for the youth. We want them to be encouraged not only to be positive and stay away from crime and drugs, but to look at options for careers, like even careers in law enforcement. Because sooner or later, myself, we're going to be out the door. And we're going to need some fresh people to come in here with some fresh ideas and move this department forward. And I encourage them. And I hope to talk to your kids about possible careers in law enforcement. Because I have been out to the IBCC and spoken to them a couple of times about that. And I'd like to see that happen. I'd like to see, we have some homegrown officers that are here now. Dimitri Phillips, Paige, I think it's from Lansing. Yeah. We've got some people, local people that have become, we decided we want to be the change and made the change. And we hope we see more of that among our young people, because we definitely need them. And there's no discrimination for tattoos, anything like that, okay? So let those young people know. We don't care about bones that are on their face or their neck. Come on and apply, okay?
Hello, I have a question.
Yes, sir.
Yes or no answer.
I'm sorry, I can't hear you.
I would like a yes or no answer. From last year to this year, has the crime increased?
I will say probably we've seen some increases, but at the same time.
And in the year prior, has it increased?
Well, as you may recall, last year we had no homicides at all.
May not have had homicide, but what did we have?
Well, we've had, look, we're a city, we have crime.
We did, as of like 4 years ago, none of this major stuff was going on. Our children rode our bikes. They played with their friends. You and the rest of the police force have changed. That's it. And I'm not pointing fingers, I'm asking for help.
You have it.
Well, it's pretty damn sad that my 9-year-old daughter stood up at the park holding this, and she didn't see one officer stop to regulate her and hold her hand, tell her that she is cared for. Nothing. Nothing. The mayor did compliment my son who was running it, but who was there for those other babies when there was a shooter 5 hours prior? And where was the rest of the town to stand up for their town? Because I can tell you where they were. They were fear-mongered, and they didn't trust that you would be there. And were you there?
Yeah.
Ma'am.
No, you were not there. You were not physically there. No one was physically there but children and their parents. So you need to involve yourself in the community, put your foot forward, and get it out of your mouth and do what you're talking about, because we're tired of it. We need to live in peace. We need to live together. We need to love each other, and we need to feel respected, and we need to feel safe. These children have the right to run around and play. Karen didn't have the right to get shot in the head. What was that little boy's name? Well, Jay didn't have a right to get shot in the stomach. There are things for these youths to do other than hang out with gang members. Maybe they wouldn't be in the wrong spot. But there isn't that either. That pool was taken away from them. There is no parolers getting raped. There is no youth program. There's no youth services. None of it. And you did not show up to the party. The only one I respect is the mayor who decided to congratulate and say thank you for trying. Nobody was brave enough because they were scared of the shooter or the man with the gun that went to the park. It's all over Facebook if you don't believe me. Where were you?
Well, unfortunately, ma'am, I don't get my news from Facebook, so I apologize for that.
Where were you?
to go on the street department. I drive the street department at least 3 times a day.
Acknowledge that they were there. Where were you?
I can't say that. Police can't be everywhere, and I think everybody understands that.
Okay, I was there. But
Yes, you were there.
I got talked about the town, asking y'all why y'all allow me there, because I don't like y'all town, which is a lie, because I was there. I was parading for the police, because I seen the county, they was blowing their horns. Yeah, the Streator police did not blow their horns. Yes, I'm not taking nothing from the chief. I will take it from the mayor though, because the mayor should have been there. If she wanted to see a change in her town, she'd have been there. So you can't blame all that on the chief and not put the mayor in it too. It's both ways. It's both ways on that one. I'm sorry, but I was there, baby. And I know everything that happened there. Yeah, it's both ways.
Excuse us.
Nobody's gonna take that fight.
I did stop. I had a meeting at 6 o'clock, so I couldn't stay. But,
I was there at 6 o'clock.
yeah. So I was there before, between 5:30 and 6, I stopped up. I brought my 3-year-old son with me. I said hi.
How long was your
I was there.
My meeting was still, it was after 7 o'clock when we finished.
That didn't stop and tell you. You could have came and showed everybody faith.
The event was 4 to 7, right? So I had a meeting that was
It's not that
canceled.
seven, you did, it's not the seven, but everybody in the park was used to say, or so. So you still had time to get out there.
Okay, can I ask a quick question? Let's talk about the shooting.
So I don't feel like.
I think, Deputy Chief, one of you mentioned DU.
But for the chief of police, I was there that day at the
And what
park.
does that mean?
And if you gonna do something for the youth, you gotta first know how to talk to adults. Don't be dismissive when somebody's talking to you, it's not what happened. Okay? To make sure, if you gonna say, well, let's get together and let's do something for the youth. How you gonna do something for the youth if you don't even know how to talk to adults? Doesn't matter whether you like what they say or not. It's how you respond to it. And whatever is a dismissive response. And I was there that day at the park because I talked to the mayor myself as well. Because we didn't meet you. The first time we met you was in the park. And it was very destructive. Okay? Just to know that you was the chief. You didn't one time get out your car, come over here where we was. Yeah, you told us the law, but you didn't introduce yourself. You could have just came and introduced yourself. We could have had a more peaceful situation than the situation occurred when we first met you. So when I was talking to the state's attorney, I stated, how can we trust you? How can we trust you if this is what y'all talking about? He dismissed what I said by minimizing it, saying that everything is recorded. Everything's not recorded. Everything's not being filmed by y'all officers. Okay? So then how about y'all do something like make sure that body cameras is always on? Okay? Make sure y'all check them. Alright? Find a new way to deal with the public instead of just dismissing things to your life. Because no matter what you say, we know what's going on because we dealing with it as well.
Can I ask you a question?
I ain't talking to you.
This meeting is about the violence that's happening in our community, and I appreciate what you're saying. I understand that you're frustrated, but maybe that's a different meeting. Because I guess we're all
It's all together.
And we see different from you. And we see different from you. You might see the goodness in them. We might see the bad.
Well,
it's about the community. This is what this meeting is here. And that's the problem with the community.
I think we are ready for a long time.
That's the problem with the community. Nobody wants to hear what the real community has to say.
You're worried about the charges. You can look on Lake South County website to find out the charges.
And you mentioned that it was DUW. Can you tell me what that means?
UUW.
What is that?
Unlawful use of a weapon, unlawful
thank
possession of a
you.
weapon.
I didn't know what that
Okay,
meant.
that's not a problem.
The other question I have was for you. You said that the police were responding to Northline for incidents. Why would the police be called to a junior high? These are 6th, 7th, and 8th graders. So why are the police going to a junior high? What
First
are
of all,
the calls?
remember, anyone calls us, we have to respond, period.
Okay.
It may not necessarily have been a police matter, but they called and asked for the police to show up at the school. We have to show up.
So why, I guess I still don't understand it. Why would they be calling you? What is happening at the school? At the junior high level?
It could be anything from an unruly student. We've had several calls of parents that will come to school and be upset, and sometimes school administrators might not know how to deal with them, or feel threatened by them, so they'll call us. We haven't made any arrests out of North in these past month or so that, since they haven't had a school resource officer. When they did, we called us for anything. He did a lot of administrative work as well as provided security. With the violence this town's seen lately, we've gotten an increase of calls from North Lawn to supervise events, whether it be track events or their upcoming graduations, things like that. They just want to know that they're going to have officers there to make sure everybody's going to be safe. So that it's, most of the time, it's for security purpose.
In regard to the staff.
Can we just have people raise their hands and I'll be willing to take the mic to them so we can have some order?
We weren't going to do questions till the end, so this is throwing off some of the discussion. One thing, so I had some other questions or items I wanted to mention. We talked about staffing since our last meeting in October. Some changes to the department. Want to go over those quickly?
Yes, this is our last
Go down the
meeting.
list and we'll go to our guest speaker here.
We have made one more full-time hire. He recently graduated the academy. He's in our field training program. And with that, our other recent hires has allowed us to make a second full-time investigator. Prior to that, we were down to one, and that was a disservice to everyone here, to us as a department as well. We had one investigator. The second one, we're able to work a little bit harder, getting caught up on some things, and get incidents resolved in a more timely manner. But again, like I said, you guys are, I'm not going to say that, 2 enough, I have 5, I got it, yes.
And again, so I want to get back to you. Centennial School calls about a street blockage issue. The parents basically showing up too early, causing a lot of traffic backflow on Oakley Avenue. We got that resolved. Principal Brennan and every now and then, she called and asked if we could sit at the track meet they had at the Deacon Stadium last Friday. So I sat over there. And as you know, over the summer at the concerts, I'm there every Friday night because I know the seniors want to see a car out there. And I want to type a squad car and sit out there for 2 hours. So I'd rather be there myself and let the squad cars answer calls, patrol, be visible, which is what the city needs. So we're very accommodating of the schools. Whatever they need will come out. It may not necessarily be a police matter, but we'll still come out and see what they need.
Can I ask you one question before I
Move on.
Please ask these people to stop talking about these teachers and these bus drivers because they're doing a hell of a job.
And I understand that people,
They're doing a good job. So when y'all complaining about these teachers and these bus drivers, they don't have to do this for y'all kids. They do it because they choose. So please stop talking about our teachers and our bus drivers out here too while y'all ash. Now, how about that?
again, we got a lot of social media kind of drama about some posts on school buses.
And teachers.
And teachers. I get another day. I wake up in the morning, if I don't really want to do that, I don't know what to do. So I'll be honest with you. I mean, it doesn't mean it's okay, but we are in a country where it's freedom of speech for First Amendment, where people are protected even if they don't like it. I don't encourage you to be mean or cruel or rude. We also we should treat each other with respect, but
we don't teachers outside at the park for the kids to know that their teachers are loved.
Wait, let her talk.
we cover traffic stops, we cover staffing, we talk about rental inspections. I'm going to talk about SWAT cameras. We have 8 last month, actually the second meeting of the month, we voted as a council to add an additional 4. I've seen some, again, we talk about social media, Facebook, and what people think and say, and some misconceptions about what they do and what they're for. For example, someone was complaining that they were going to get speeding tickets from a flock camera, which is not true. So, can one of you, provide just a quick example of how they're used or when we were able to use them to effectively solve a case or make an arrest?
Back in 2023, on an homicide investigation, we were able to utilize flock cameras to track a vehicle in a different state. Allowed us to get with agencies and enact an arrest. Recently, we've had retail thefts, where a couple $1,000s worth of property was stolen on Walmart. They were caught on flock cameras, had to go to a different town, we were able to track them down and act accordingly with that. The information from flock is just utilized by law enforcement for purposes of investigations.
I will point out that the Easter drive-by homicide, the wanted vehicle was tracked out of Streator all the way downstate to Peoria, downstate to Peoria. So flock cameras are very valuable, and we hope to get 4 more installed very soon. Mayor, if you want, Mr. Teal Harlan is here. You want to let him speak for a few minutes?
I talked to the crowd and then I'll finish up with just a few actions that we're doing here and things I've seen. Thank you.
Okay, hello everybody. My name is Teal Harlan. I'm really from Chicago. I have an organization called Violence Interrupters, not-for-profit organization. I'm not here to ask any money. I want to make that clear, right? I want to get that out right now. Now, I used to run a ceasefire for the whole state of Illinois. I've done a lot of work on the national level, helping to reduce gun violence in a lot of different cities. Chicago homicide rate is down now on a higher level finally. This year, we said take it 1 year at a time. But I hear a lot of the concern here this evening. I understand the residents. I've been working with residents for a long, long time. I've been in this business for about 22 years now. And I would love to come up here maybe and host a restorative justice type of community peace circle, a peace gathering with all the residents up here to the best of our ability. And also I have a 40-hour training that I facilitate in the area of conflict resolution, detecting incidents on the front end before any shots are fired. That's what's most important because the police can only do so much, I support the police department as well because a lot of times, a lot of us just don't understand one another. We have to kind of come together and ask the right questions of one another and see what we can establish a common ground. That's what it's all about. I'm not here to preach to you. I've written a book titled Interrupting Gun Violence, the Public Health Approach, and we look at gun violence like it spreads like an infectious disease. I grew up in the heart of the streets of Chicago. I grew up in the projects, the Henry projects, and I grew up in some rough communities, so I understand the mindset. I know my people pretty good, whether you're white, black, Latino, Asian, I work with everybody. But I'm a straight person, I'm a straightforward individual. I'm well learned, well established. I don't play any games, but in a city like Streator, a town like Streator, I believe that we can really get to Streator to a point where we have 0 homicides. I really believe we can do it. I really put the point fingers because gun violence is frustrating for everybody. It frustrates people all across the United States because it's hard to know when somebody's going to pick up a gun and shoot somebody. Somebody can shoot somebody in their house, somebody can shoot somebody walking down the street, but it just happens just like that because we have to do more to change the mindset. A lot of people thinking violently because most people already from an anger scale from 1 to 10, most people on 9.5 already. All they're doing is waiting on somebody to say something crazy, so now you're going to shoot somebody. Can I agree with that? Yeah. I'm serious. You're dealing with people dealing with dysfunctional families. They haven't addressed their trauma. People got all kinds of issues. You got families working every day trying to pay their bills. They can't even focus with their kids half the time. They're trying to pay their light bill. Now the kid hasn't even, I'm talking about Chicago, and the same in other cities as well. People are going to school hungry. They're getting messed over their family and all that kind of stuff. They say, no, you want me to act right. How can I act right and my mind is not right? If that makes sense, right? It's across the board. It's not just one ethnic group or one culture. This happens across the board. So I'm here to do some work, roll my sleeves up and go to work. I would like to, when I talk to the man, the police chief, maybe come up here and facilitate maybe a 2-hour training in conflict resolution and detecting violence incidents on the front end and the public health model. I'd love to do something like that, right? Because that's what it's all about. And then I'm a guy that's going to come up here, like I said, it's not all about money. Let's try to save some lives. Okay, let's save some lives, all right? And my website is violenceinterrupters.org. You can visit my website, right? And I'm not here on a political stage, that's what you'll say, I want to say that. But I ran for governor twice in the state of Illinois. And the first time, I'm not running for office again. I want to make that clear. I'm not running again, but I did pretty good the first time I ran. I secured 30% of the state vote out of nowhere. You know, I didn't have a lot of money. I had about $50,000 to play with, but I know people. I shook hands with over 300,000 people in the state of Illinois, and I hit the ground running. So I want to hit the ground running, help you out the street or just the same, and see what we can do to try to uplift this community. And resources I need without a doubt. But it's all about changing the mindset, because we cannot change the circumstances most of the time. We cannot change people's circumstances. People look at my people when I grew up in the projects. When you go down on the front porch of the projects, you had to fight. You had to fight just like that, because the mindset would dictate that type of, process to a degree, but we had to learn to think on a higher level. That's what I'm talking about. And God has blessed me to give back. Now, I also teach as an adjunct professor at North Park University in the field of correctional services and criminology. I teach as well, so I'm not just a guy talking. I lived it, I've learned it, and I've written books about it, okay? So let's go to work, roll our sleeves up, and I'm willing to help, all right? I just want to put that out there. All right.
We've been here hour and 16 minutes, and I know we've got a time limit. I'm not going to fix this. I'll just hold it up. Okay. Done a lot of talking. I don't know if we came up with a solution yet. A couple of good ones in the car. One thing I want to talk about going forward. I have a group that I'm creating. It's the Mayor's Violence. It's my Violence Prevention Committee. In the fall, I went to a conference and went through a session with the Mayor of Rockford. And it's pretty eye-opening. Rockford, Illinois, much larger, bigger budget. They were seeing an uptick in domestic violence and violent crimes in their community. This session went through some of the domestic violence, what they were seeing, and how they're moving forward and trying to go out of it. So the mayor created their own office, specifically looking at what's going on in violent crimes. They spent a year just doing data research. When we talk about the youth and some of this uptick that we've been seeing with some of the youth involved in crime, when Rockford, Illinois looked at youth involved in violent crimes, 75% of the kids that were involved had been a witness or a victim to violence in their home. 75%. So this isn't, we want to hire more police, we want to get cameras. How do we break the cycle? You see this at home, you see it here, you see this on the street. How do we get it, and this is a long, it's a long game, but how do we get the youth to change their mindset and to know that what they're seeing is not okay? So, Rockford created a task force. Some of the actions that they took was the Family Peace Center. It's multi-agency. So when someone experiences domestic or sexual violence, they have one intake form. So it's not, I'm going to this place for this counseling, I need help with food, I need help with an apartment because I'm trying to leave someone that's causing violence toward me. So they created one location. They have a juvenile response team, domestic violence response team, an educator team. So these are all things, things that I've been looking at. So my first committee, I've had meetings with people, but bringing together, we'll have someone that's a behavioral specialist in our schools. I have someone coming from Safe Journeys to be a part of this. And I have someone that's also working on the substance use side. So I'm sitting together with what I'm going to call 3 moms in our community and see what we can do to try to take the steps to break that cycle and get down to the root cause of what's going on. We've also been working, I don't know if they're still here, but We have someone with, a meeting last week with Streator, who's working on a community resource meeting, a list of resources that are available for when you need something in our town. Whether it is, again, substance use, domestic violence, even help with your gas bill. We're trying to work on a list through them. City Manager Clement was there for the meeting. He knows that we have a police and fire that attend some community care meetings through them every other Monday. So there's a group on there. We take just a minute and kind of said, I know we're on a limit with our time in this building, but what do we do next? Neighborhood Watch meeting, May 21st, 6 p.m.
Where at?
City Hall. And we do have some information somewhere in the box, so of some Neighborhood Watch information. What can you do? Build up your community, talk to your neighbors, get involved in something. Report violence. For the most part, I think we've had people calling when they see something, so that is fantastic. I appreciate that, and I thank everyone for doing that. We don't expect our citizens to freak up or go out and fight crime, but we do respectfully ask you call us so that we can get out there. Again, calls to action, so listen, stay informed. If you're fortunate enough to be able to mentor or help one of our young people in town, please do so. Even a listening ear, tutoring, helping them. Again, know your neighbors. Build relationships, be able to trust them. Organize a block party. Community cleanup. These are all things that build community ties and give us respect and understanding of each other. Again, I'll just keep saying report. See it, report it. Support those people that are victims with compassion. If you have a story, use it to share and raise awareness. And with that, I said that if anyone else has anything, if not, what I'm going to do is stick up here for questions afterwards. Thank you for attending, and we'll just kind of wrap up at that point. Yeah, and we can't pass out our neighborhood watch items. We've got Mr. Hartman's here. Yes, we have those. And so we'll just kind of come down and if you just want to come up and ask any questions.
If you have any questions for me, just feel free to ask. All questions are good.
I want to get my shoe because I love it.
Neighborhood watch materials, I'll have some up in the front and a table on the back.
Are we going to go forward on the grant for the cameras? Mr. Lyman going to go forward or do, or?
I'm not sure what grant that is. I don't know what grant that was. I Googled it quick to see if I could see what it was.
The one that I got?
Didn't see a grant. I saw an article where there's another grant and also cameras mentioned, but they weren't tied together, so I have to see what that was.
Okay.
Officer Franklin?
Yes, ma'am.
We were talking about the street code, and if you got shot, why wouldn't you tell a person who shot you? Is that because that person that got shot, it leads to gangs, it leads to drugs, so they don't want to talk?
I would say that's probably a lot of the reason behind it, and when we hear frequent response is that I'll handle it myself. Rather than just tell us what happened, they'll say, well, I'll deal with it myself.
So that, the guy that was held for doing the shooting on Main Street, was he from Streator?
Main Street was the homicide, yes.
Oh, okay. Was he from Streator?
Yes. We can't release a lot of information on it. It's still an ongoing investigation.
I just wondered when you said street code.
Right.
What
When you guys came to the last meeting, you kind of went down the same talking point road with we need higher taxes and more police officers, but I feel like that's a deflectionary tactic, and I don't want to pause on this. Please do not pause. Is this what you're going to do at these meetings every time? Because that was not helpful. And please don't clap. But it's like, I feel like political talking points that's just a waste of our time. And by the way, where is the state's attorney tonight?
So I can address it. Number one, he had a personal issue tonight.
He makes more money than anybody. I mean, we throw a lot of money as taxpayers at these problems, and then he's going to send the two of you to do his dirty work. I mean, he's not here. Why bother? I mean, the Safety Act, you guys just handled it. At first, other counties did better. Now, the public can't trust the state's attorney's office with the Safety Act. So, this has been very unhelpful. I just feel like your comments earlier, nobody's gonna, they're not helpful.
Okay, well, I certainly apologize that was your take. I support any efforts to stop the gun violence, whether it be community outreach. I support this gentleman's efforts. I think that's fantastic. Our office gets involved after it's already happened. We're reactionary to the crime that's already occurred. That's our role. And so we want to have prosecutable cases to get justice for victims. That's not to say that we're against all of these other wonderful ideas. I wasn't sent here by anybody. I came here because I care. Unfortunately, my entire office couldn't be here tonight. People have lives. And so, I mean, you know, I think the fact that we're here should tell you that we care about what's going on. These aren't political talking points.
They absolutely are. I mean, I'm not dumb. I mean, it's just political talking points.
The role of Lacey County is mass incarceration. That's what it is. Say what it is.
I'm sorry?
The role for Lacey County is mass incarceration.
Well, I mean, the role for people that murder people is incarceration.
It's not just murder.
So, I mean, murderers should go to prison. I don't think that's a hot take.
Gun charges that are locked up, but you have sex offenders that are out in this community, and you don't feel they're a danger to the community, but they're abusing 5-year-old children. Are you kidding me? Yeah, no, you can, whatever somebody else. Mass incarceration, that's what you want to do.
Can I just ask, do you guys find that most of the shootings in this town, and I was not born and raised here, I have just lived here for several years, but do you find that most of the shootings are retaliation, or is it just general shootings in town? I mean, are they retaliating against each other? Is that what the issue is?
No, what I can tell you.
What we can tell you is that the shootings that have occurred in town are targeted. There's intended targets, intended victims. As far as being retaliatory, we can't comment on that for the simple fact that it's still ongoing investigation.
Right.
And and we don't want to speculate on that because that's not fair to anybody. These could be random, targeted, some could be, but we can't just say.
Does it stem from drugs?
Again, they're all ongoing investigations, and I can't say whether they're all drug related because there's still things that we're trying to put together. We're trying to find both.
Well, I just want to say, I know you guys have sat up there and you have taken a lot right now. But as a newer member to this community, I do see a lot of violence. I live on Shamrock Street, and I'm sure you guys are very well aware how much goes on there. But I do want to say, when there was an issue apparently with some retaliation in that neighborhood, I did see police presence 4 days in a row, night and day. You guys were sitting there. And in fact, the chief, I was out walking my dog, and he made a point to
introduced himself to me, and we talked for quite a while about what was going on in Streator, and I can't imagine it's the easiest job in the world to handle all of the ridicule and even the violence in this town. But I do appreciate everything that you guys have been trying to do and are doing. I think that one of the biggest things is the drugs in this area are they're just terrible, and I think that is compounding the problem. And I understand you guys are limited in what you guys can do, but I just wanted to say that I appreciate that you guys are sticking out.
Thank you. I also want to point out that since we appointed a different officer to the Triton Task Force, we've stepped up search warrant executions in Streator at least tenfold over the last year and a half. We have definitely shut down a lot of places and continue to work to shut down other places. It's an ongoing process, and as you know, the demand for drugs is high everywhere in this country. But Triton is a very, very active ally in our battle along to keep Streator safe and to keep it a pleasant place to live for people that care. And I want to thank all of you all for coming out, because it shows a lot of you care about Streator. And I will tell you that even though I've had a few blips of racial incidents directly myself, you have a lot of good people here in Streator, and I have been very warmly welcomed in this city since the day I was born. And I want to make sure that relate to all of you, because I really appreciate all the new friends I have, the people that call me constantly with their complaints, with their tips, with whatever we can use to quash a problem before it gets out of hand. I want to thank all of you.
One of the problems that we're having is we're having a lot of repeat offenders keep coming right back out. Our police can catch them, but if they just keep getting back released, then we're stuck right back into the same cycle. So what are we able to do to either A, make sure that the Safety Act is enforced more adequately to where they're not being released to this extent that they are, or B, to get it to where this isn't just going to keep happening. Like, we can fix here, but we also need to fix there. This is a global fix everywhere. Like, do you have any suggestions on how we can also try to find some kind of resolution with your guys' office as well?
Well, I think that we're in agreement that the Safety Act has not been great for the community anywhere. We didn't pass the Safety Act. The state of Illinois did. Yes. We don't really agree with a lot of the Safety Act. We're handcuffed by it. And so it causes angst and anger in communities that we have to field, even though there's not necessarily a fix. There are some things that simply are not attainable. And we also I can't push a button. We have judges that make rulings on whether someone's going to stay in custody or not in custody.
If you look at those, the jail roster, I look at it every single day, hoping and praying my neighbor was arrested. Sometime during the night, I just happen to miss it. But if you look at that jail roster, it's back to back to back where these people get arrested every day. But some of that seems like the judge, I think if all of these judges, they can hold them for some of that, especially if they do it the day after. Detain them, keep them.
So how can it's not going to matter what we do in our community if they're just going to keep getting released out into our community? And I think that right now in Lacell County, it's not being upheld to the fullest extent of what it can be, because in some of the surrounding counties, they're being detained for lesser charges. So I think that it really needs to be worked on, so that way we know that we have peace of mind that we can actually do something in our community to fix it, and that within the court system that is going to be effective as well. I know you guys can't fix everything, but something has to be done with this as well, because it's not being effective, and just saying that our hands are tied, like, I understand our hands are tied, but our hands are tied here. We're still here trying to do something. Something has to be done. It can't just keep running the way that it is.
I agree. I think it's a very valid criticism. It's a frustration that we have as well. Every case is evaluated on a case-by-case basis. It's made it very difficult for us.
Well, it seems like the people are it seems like the people are coming from the city, and it says there in the newspaper when they report about it. Was so-and-so on parole, or so-and-so's on probation, they live in Chicago. And
They're not just from Chicago.
no, I'm not saying
And it's not just only LaSalle County. A lot of counties are dealing with the same issue. And I will tell you, we have gotten 3 extremely habitual offenders off of our streets in the last year and a half. 2 from last year, and 1 young man this year who had 40 reports of thefts, trespasses, etc. Finally got him off the street in April. So I'm pleased overall with what they've done. I know that we all have to put with restraints and law. Guys, we don't make the laws. But when laws are passed, we have to obey them. We can't rewrite them, and we can't change them. We have to obey guidelines just like they have to obey guidelines. And we work very well with them to see, hey, what can we do about this guy that's got all these steps? Or this woman that's got all these steps? What can we do to get a judge to say, hold it, enough, you're going to be detained, we're going to indict you, we're going to get you on trial. And they have come through for us. So it's not the kind of speed you guys want to see, but we have seen the difference here working with them as a team.
Here, the lady over there.
I have a question that, I don't know if you guys can answer, but if Ottawa has more population, has more cops, if they're getting, why are they getting these grants for these cameras where they don't have to pay for it, where, we have a smaller county, we have less cops, it seems, we have less money, we need it more, and I'm a current senior at this high school, with all the trees, and everything. I love this town. I have so much faith in everyone here, but I'm starting to get to the point where I worry about coming to school every day. And I don't think anybody should be, but why would Ottawa get more funding if we needed more because we have less funding?
I would just say this. You shouldn't be afraid to go to Streator High School. Chris Osborne is an excellent school resource officer you have over there. He believes he works his level best every day to make sure all of you are safe. I'm confident in him. The school board is confident in him, and he does a very good job. I needed to volunteer for something. We're going to be raising money for the Special Olympics. And Chris stepped up right away and said, Chief, I'll be out with you Dunkin' Donuts on May 16th. I didn't have to call him and ask him. And anything we need from Chris will come through for. We got a graduation coming up May 21st, I think. North Lawn City, like a police presence. Chris heard me talking to the principal on the phone and said, Chief, I'll stipulate and I'll handle the graduation. So whatever you guys need at Streator High, Chris will come through for you. You have a very good school resource officer. You're very fortunate to have.
Oh, I love Chris. He always cracks jokes with me every day I come to school. I didn't work for him, so I get to come in late, but he's a great guy.
And we haven't given credit to the fact that you all have him here at the school walking around every day. Chris has lost about 20 pounds too, so it's worked out well for himself.
Chief, you also mentioned that you don't get your news from social media. I'm going to guess that about 80% of the people in here do look at social media on a regular basis to see what the news are. Why don't you?
There's nothing wrong with looking at social media. I wouldn't depend on it for facts per se. Because whatever people put out there, people perceive as fact when it may not be fact at all. Just because you see it in print or with a picture doesn't mean it's true or that it's real. And people can do it.
So, I got a question. If that's the case, why you put out fake news? You got everybody targeting me thinking I'm shooting everything out. I got shot because of stuff you said now.
That's not true.
That is true.
It is.
That's
The guy that
exactly
shot me
true.
on
You
Easter
put in the
Day
paper,
messaged
you
me a month
said
before
that
he shot me and killed my cousin.
when,
Said he did it because
the house
a
got
post
burned,
that
one
you
of the
posted.
house got burned up was his, and his house got shot up. You put in the paper that his got the two other brothers that got in locked up, and this was well known. He just came out of IDOC. You the cause that he got shot.
No. Yes,
You the cause, you the one that put it in the paper.
They didn't cause him to get shot.
I got it
Yes,
on
you
my phone.
did. You the one put it in the paper.
They didn't cause him to get shot.
You put it out there to make it look like he
You
did some
got
shit with
me
his house before
targeted.
he
And
got shot up.
everybody out here shooting at me for nothing because some stuff
You put in the paper.
But then I didn't drive, I didn't drive a car up in front
Because
of
you put it in the paper, making it insinuating that it was them. And the other ones got to thinking it was him, and that's why they came for him shooting at him. They shot at his house up with his kids and that. I stood out there that night and talked to you. Only house that you was concerned about is the one you claimed they had 6 kids in. Okay, what about the house over here that had 2 kids in it? Plus their house got set on fire and shot up. You ain't said a damn thing about his house. You talking about the other.
With that being said, man.
And you put it in the paper.
Keep my name
And
out
next
your
thing you
mouth.
know, he got
That's
shot.
it. That's that.
Tell
Keep
the truth
my
out
name
there.
out your
Good day,
mouth.
sir.
And that's that.
And once again, let's try to stay respectful. I know we
Keep my
have
fucking
differences.
name out your mouth.
Your chief needs to get his stuff together then, because chief should never put that in the paper. And the police is the one who let it be known that he wasn't going to put that article in there.
You know what, in the newspaper?
Yes, when he put it there, talking about, they well known, and, 2 of them locked up in the county, and this one just came home from IDOC. You made it look like it was him. That's why they did that. You caused it. And you want to sit up there, and you've been in 44 years in the law enforcement. You should know
I
that.
think this is where we're at.
You should know that.
Let's wrap, we need to wrap up. We're not solving this right now.
I'm just telling you how.
Let's do one final question. Right up.
He only for 44 years. He should have never put nothing like that in the paper.
Could you answer this young woman's question? She asked, why are we not getting the same grant opportunities that Ottawa is? I feel like that.
I said, we will look at the grant. I think I did not find anything. I looked at it, Googled it on my phone, couldn't find it. But we do apply for grants, we get grants. Even if we apply, we don't always get them, but we do apply for them. So grant writers, we have a couple people that can write grants, and we also have, we're members of the NCICG, is the North Central Council of Governments, and they will help us as a membership, the housing rehab grants through their work, so, in partnership.
The reason I ask is because Jenny Malnar used to do a lot for our community, and she's.
Can I bust in here?
Yep, let's do one more, let you do the last question, sir.
So I've been a resident of Streator now for 12 years. I work for one of Streator's largest employers. I also know a lot of business owners in this town. As we know, there's been a huge resurgence of business in downtown Streator. I guess the reason why we're all here is I have 3 small children. I worry about when we go down to Legacy for wings, when we go to the park for Pluto Fest. We don't want to lose that as a community. What assurances can you as law enforcement provide us in the bounds of the Safety Act as well as in the bounds of the law that we won't have to worry about that moving forward?
Okay, we use Streator Fest as an example. I'll start, and then if you want to finish up. So Streator Fest, we do make a concerted effort because there is a large crowd. We have meetings with the committee, try to limit clear bags, diaper bags only if you have a little kid with you. But we do call in the state and Livingston County and LaSalle County to come in. And so we have a lot of force and presence on those evenings. I'll speak to any of the others.
I guess it kind of just piggybacks into the fact of what is allowing this activity to continue in our area. And be allowed to keep reoccurring? I guess that's the question that I feel like many of us have.
I think that if we knew the answer, we could just prevent it. I mean, it's,
Just quick, I have a lot of guests that come to my cafe. Many of them are relocated to Streator, have been here, and just in the last week I ran across 3 people who moved here, one from Oklahoma, one from Morris, and another one from my old neighborhood in Chicago. And all of them said, did we make the right decision in moving here? I encourage many people to come and live here. It's friends of mine in my neighborhood where I grew up, where they're getting, more affordable. It's a nice, quiet community, and people heard me say it's like your whole neighborhood's the whole town. But one of the women that I met recently said, she couldn't be here, but she said, did I make the right decision in moving to this community? And I'm glad that we're here because I've heard some things that I think I can give back to her. But there's probably a lot of people out there that I haven't met yet, that many of us might not meet, that are having those same thoughts. They can't all be here. Is there does the council or the city government or the police department, I know you guys run your page all the time with Facebook, but a public statement, something to talk about this meeting? I know that Derek's here with the newspaper and is going to cover it, but something from our community leaders, public statements, that letters to the people or something, just a thought.
I try to get those out, and try to post and let people know what's going on. If there's ideas or topics that I don't cover, absolutely, we'll try to address them. I'll try to stay active on social media as much as it fights me every time. But no, I understand the concerns. No, I look at what we have in Streator.
I get a picture of the mayor and the council members and the police chief says, welcome to Streator, that I can put in my campaign. Glad you're here. Something. Something simple. I just didn't complicate it. Something. Thanks for visiting. Adam.
She got a question. Oh, she got something to say.
Okay, so I'm a senior in Streator High School, and honestly, my mom always keeps me in the house, but that's to keep me protected from everything that's going on. And honestly, the past couple months that I turned 18 and I got out the house, I've been scared to walk around the town, not because of the people or the community here, but it's because of the police. Every time I look on the news or I look on the newspapers or anything, I'm seeing more of Black Lives Matter, but I'm seeing the police come out here and shoot us for no reason. And when we try to explain ourselves, they don't.
And we haven't had an officer involved shooting other than we had someone.
But she's saying
that she's scared of the police, so the police need to start talking to these kids.
Okay. So it's just a general fear.
I have a 4-year-old and she's terrified. She's seen y'all lights and she started crying. And she's never had no interaction.
I want that goes back to the youth and operation and everything. So yeah.
It's crazy because all I'm saying is us kids, us seniors, all of us kids growing up, we shouldn't have to fear. We shouldn't have to fear in this town. I've grown up in Streator my whole life. We shouldn't have to fear in this town because of the people here. We shouldn't have to fear in this town because of the police here. We should be able to walk around this town perfectly fine, peaceful. We should be able to walk around with our minds. We shouldn't have to fear for our life every time we walk behind our back, every time we walk. That's all I'm saying.
We have to close up.
We do have to be out in 11 minutes. So we've got a lot of discussions on different places. So thank you for attending.
Thank you for coming, guys. It's all of our good Sorry to look at Dave, we'll talk.